Why Africa?
So Africa have a very interesting opportunity for tech companies, and what we're seeing now in the past 12 months is that the leader of the startup industry understand it and coming to see what's going on in Africa. So Africa, from one hand, is a third world continent, not a lot of wealthy individuals and you know good solid countries are in Africa from one hand, but from the other hand, it's the home of the biggest mobile money networks.
Welcome to our series entitled the IAM Podcast, a podcast about innovation, business, and most importantly, people. In this series, we'll be talking to founders, executives, and various experts about their vision, challenges, best practices, and lessons learned throughout their journey. Let's get started. Hello and what's up, everyone? Today, it's my delight to be joined by the co founder and the chief executive officer at Avenews, Shalom Ben Or. Shalom, how are you doing?
Good, Maya. Thank you. What a pleasure being here. It's a privilege to be spotted in your video podcast. So happy to be here and hope we'll have fun these 30 minutes.
We will, and a lot of learning. Would love to hear more about your amazing product, the market, and your journey. Okay, so let's just get started.
Let's do it.
Okay, please give everyone a quick overview of your company through your elevator pitch.
With pleasure. So Avenues is the leading fintech and the bridge between the agriculture industry and the financial sector. We do it with our unique digital infrastructure that, on one hand, provide various added services to agri SMEs across Africa to manage their business. And to this digital infrastructure, we embed financial services such as loans and payments mechanisms. We're currently a 26 people company, growing from working in Africa since 2017, currently in three countries, Uganda, Kenya, and Zambia.
Why Africa?
So Africa have a very interesting opportunity for tech companies. And what we're seeing now in the past 12 months is that the leader of the startup industry understand it and coming to see what's going on in Africa. So Africa, from one hand, is a third world continent, not a lot of wealthy individuals and you know good solid countries are in Africa from one hand, but from the other hand, it's the home of the biggest mobile money networks. So for those of you who are not been in Africa and you are in Israel, so in Africa you can pay from your phone since 2010, which is not a new invention. Unlike that, in Israel we can pay with our phones only into few places with few services. In Africa, they leapfrog all the way, and currently the amount of fintechs utilizing the fact that you can wire money from your phone and the understanding of the financial services that can be easily accessible, booming the market, and you see different companies doing some very excited stuff. But with all that new innovation and the understanding of the financial landscape, agriculture industry is still behind years. So agriculture is one of the biggest and most important industry, market size wise. So it's third of the typical country in Africa. Third of the GDP goes from agriculture, and also it's the biggest employer. More than 50% of the population work in agriculture. With it being said, Still, agriculture doesn't receive any financial services. So banks usually lend out of their total loan portfolio only 2% to 7% out of their total lending book to agriculture. As you can see, there is a massive gap between the numbers. So agriculture third of the GDP, banks out of their total loan portfolio provide only 2 to 7%. We understood this gap and we decided that we wanted to see how we can come and allow the agriculture industry in Africa first utilize its full potential, close the financing gap, be able to produce the amount of food this industry need in order to feed Africa, but then the entire world. So this is why Africa.
Okay. Wow. I was surprised when you said since 2010, considering that it's a third world country, but you can wire money from your phone, right? Online transactions.
Absolutely. You can go to like the most remote place you can think of. If you have a phone, you can pay for whatever you want to buy with your phone, and it's real time. It's not delays on anything. Offline, you don't need data for it, so you don't need internet. So like when we understood it the first time, it was mind blowing.
It is. Mm-hmm. When was the first time you went to Africa?
My first time was in 2017, where we on the final stages of accepting into the Barclays Textiles Accelerator program. The first time was like the last 20 companies pitches. We've been privileged to be accepted and chosen for the cohort. So we were part of the 10 companies that have been chosen, and then we spent 3 months in Cape Town, working closely with what was then Barclays Africa, and understanding the industry, understanding the market, and really understanding the innovation that already exists and how we can utilize it.
Okay. How was it working with Africans? I mean, is it culture difference or did you get any culture shock or something?
I think us as Israelis, we understand the mentality of you need to do things in an absence of services. So we need to invent stuff. We need to have the other ways to operate. And I think it was that understanding really allow us to connect to Africans faster, because as Israelis, we are a very young country and we needed to invent a lot of things out of the air. And we still having some gaps, coming into Africa, they have a very similar mindset of, okay, we need to do X, but we don't have the services, or we don't know how we should do X, but we will do it either way, and we found a solution. And we found it very good to start. And they're also very open for innovation. So when you come and you speak with big companies, so we worked like the accelerator program was with Barclays Africa, which was the second largest bank in the continent. So after the accelerator program, we managed to do a pilot and then sign a commercial agreement with the bank. That now is called ABSA. So, having the openness of, yes, we will collaborate with 5 people company, and that's fine. They will find a way to innovate. And the openness that we found was very good. Very good landscape to come and introduce new solutions.
Is there any existing solution or how are you better than your competition?
Majority of the focus is on farmers. So majority of our competitions goes and try and serve the individual farmers and to find new solutions to ease their life and to provide more services to farmers. What we look and how we look on the market is saying, okay, farmers, it's one of the beneficiaries, but the biggest gaps currently sits on the middle layer, which is the missing middle, which are the agri SMEs that buy from the farmers, serve the farmers with, the services farmers need to purchase. Um, and by doing so, we basically providing and serving an untapped market, and we do it in a way that suits their business. So they need a unique solution that we provide them, unlike our competitors that try and solve something for the farmers, which is part of the supply chain. Um, so I think our biggest difference is that when we look on the supply chain, we want to serve end to end the entire supply chain. We offer, on top of financial services, we offer very strong digital services for managing businesses and becoming a digital business. And I think the fact that we come with a basket of solution and holistic solution that serve the different needs of these businesses really make us apart.
Could you talk to us or share with us one user story and how your solution, how your product impacted theirs? How are they able to improve?
Sure. So we serve agri SMEs that need to buy, like they buying from farmers, they buying crops. So usually these businesses, they also provide different services to these farmers along the year because they need to secure the commodity for themselves. Otherwise, somebody else will go and buy. And eventually, their business based on buying enough crop in order to sell to the buyers or to some adding processing to the product and then sell it in the market. So, but what we have, and it's a very interesting user, he came to us and he running like a semi-formal business with more than 10,000 farmers. Now, this business want to buy potatoes. And currently, his ability to buy potatoes is not for the full amount of farmers. So we still serve the farmers, the full 10,000 farmers. But throughout the season, he doesn't have enough capital in hand in order to buy from these farmers. What we then done is that he start using our platform in order to manage all of interaction with his farmers. So we immediately managed to understand that he's running a good business and he understands what she's doing. And this is a credit worthy business. On top of it, we understood his patterns and how he when he buy from farmers and how much extra more potatoes will make a difference for him. So when we come to us and apply for our finance, we were able to double his capacity in order to on a weekly basis of purchasing, and allowing him to increase his business dramatically. And when we look on our impact and how the model works, is that we see that this is returning. He's keep coming and keep increasing using our system and our capital in order to maintain and to increase his business. And we see more and more of these kind of companies coming into us and that kind of users. And we're really enjoying the fact that we can, while we're doing a good business for ourselves, we're also empowering these businesses to do much more for them. So they're becoming much stronger business, and can eventually become a bigger and stronger business to then eventually provide an impact to the supply chain.
Mm. Do you have any crazy story or a not so good story in the process, while you were negotiating or talking with those SMEs?
When you're a financier in the landscape, you need to be aware that somebody will come and just want to get your capital for doing something.
So how do you deal with that?
So first of all, we have a very good data team that validate and understand very well what's going on in the market and making sure that, we can find if somebody wants to scam us, we understand it and we can flag it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have some mechanism to pull out if needed. But, we sometimes like we've been approached few weeks ago, somebody came to us with a very big financing deal that on the surface was, very compelling to us because we calculated and we saw, okay, like we going to inject X and then we'll be able to do it multiple times and all the revenue projections were very good. But then he just came to us and said, you know what, but I have another business. And then we started discussing on a new venture that he wanted to do is with a microfinancier. Like, we managed to block it. So I think, currently the position we are having this conversation with clients and being very close to clients allow us to learn much more. And so this is what, like on an SME user kind of story, this is a story, but one of the what I found and I enjoy it very much, but it's something that you need to love. Otherwise, it's very hard. Is that you going to lunch with your partner or with your like you going for a typical traditional lunch now in Nairobi, and I think you need to be open for culture. And we like the African culture. We learn it a lot, and we also have employees of the companies in Africa. But when you sit down for your first traditional African lunch, you need to come. You need to come open because it's a different experience than eating a shawarma here in Israel.
Well, maybe a lot of people have not been yet to Africa. So maybe what about Africa do you love? I mean, what about the culture?
So first of all, I think the African continent is currently the land of opportunities. Like, there is so many gaps. There is enough capital that can pay for services. So I think when you come with a good solution, you can come into a market and you can scale quite fast. Unlike the Western world, which is you need to fight to scale. And what I like about the African culture is, the hospitality, the fact that they are warm people. Um, they're very welcoming and they want you to understand their culture. So they, yes, come, we'll take you to eat lunch. It's not granted that somebody that you're working with, you have a business with, you will take you to his traditional favorite place and like show you the culture and show you the cuisine. Those few are like what we like about the African culture and why we like working in Africa.
Did you say your favorite food was shawarma? Or what's the favorite food for you?
My favorite Israeli food is shawarma. When you go to Africa, then you do yamachoma, which is like a barbecue.
Hmm. We need to Google that. Okay.
I hope I pronounce it well.
Okay. So those were your challenges dealing with SMEs. How about your startup challenges? I mean, in providing your services, is it a team or how?
We are quite unique in a way that we said, as a tech company, as a startup, saying the best market for our solution is Africa. As a startup, you need to raise money.
Hmm.
And when you come to an investor and you tell the story, great story, sounds like a very interesting market, and then you reach into a point that which market you're already in, and you start saying, yeah, I'm in Africa, like we're working there, and then it's a blocker. Like the VCs that we spoke with and the investors we spoke with early on were quite hesitant around Africa because unlike the US, most of the investors didn't visit Africa. We hear not the best stories about Africa. So for them, it's saying, I need to learn a new market. It's a market that's notorious of different, not that good business practices. So how like the investors that we met at the beginning where it was very hard to convince that we found the best market for us, and this is a very good market, big enough in a VC numbers. So this was our biggest challenge. Um, and I think it's still for companies that working in untraditional markets, such as Africa, it's a challenge. But now when we come with numbers and we come with traction, it's easier to convince. And also we're fortunate enough that one of the biggest VCs in Israel were believe in us as entrepreneurs and say, okay, we're not afraid for Africa. Market indeed look very good and look very promising. You guys look like a good team, and they come and back us. So currently, it's really allowing us to scale as we want. What I do recommend is to have a look on Africa. There is very good companies out there. And you see the biggest investors go to Africa, like Target Global, Insight Partners. They all invested in companies this year in Africa, not just late stage, early stages as well. And we see the traction, which we see the impact of these funds on the landscape, which we're welcoming very good. Like it's great to see that we now in a market that investors are interested, understand, and can price it in a VC number. So for VCs that doesn't look in Africa yet, look
Yeah.
at Africa, and I'd be more than happy to have a chat about Africa in general.
All right. So you also have a very diverse team, right? So how do you embrace diversity? How do you manage them?
First of all, you embrace the diversity. Eventually, we are as individuals different from each other. And I think what we made, we decided early on that as individuals, as human beings, we colorblind, and as individuals, we don't care what religion you are, what color you are, and eventually all of these semantics are not important for the person that is in front of us. And this is how we operate the company. For us, it doesn't matter. All of it, it's semantics. We embrace the differences, and this is how we manage the company. With that being said, we cannot avoid the internal conflicts that we have in Israel, which occasionally still and unfortunately still raising every while and then. And we have these clashes between Jewish Israelis and Muslim Israelis and Arabs. So we're embracing it. We can, as a family, we can speak about everything. We know that from our acceptance of the difference come our strengths, and it's okay to have different opinions, and it's okay to think differently as long as nobody's encouraged violence towards each other, as long as we keep patient and we keep respecting each other. Speaking and talking is more than welcoming. We encourage the team to speak, and we encourage team to understand that there is differences, with acceptance and with the fact that we indeed colorblind, and all of the surface is semantics for us. Eventually, what's important is that you're a human being and you want to do good for the company and for the world.
Where are you now in your journey, and where do you plan to take Avenews?
So we're currently on our path for round A, which we probably will raise within the upcoming few months. And basically, we proven, like, within the market, we have a machine that's working, and we now, as Avenues, our mission is to feed the machine and make it better and better, that we'll be able to process much more much more usage, and keep expanding our footprint. And for us, our vision is to become the leading financial service provider to the agriculture industry in Africa. And be that fintech company that bridge between the financial sector and the agriculture industry, which is such an important um, industry to the world. We keep growing as a world from a population perspective, and we need to have a resilient supply chain and an ability to keep feed the world. And I think in order to do so, you need the liquidity and you need the finance, the supply chain to operate.
Mm. Having said that, like the connecting the agri to the finance sector, you're a member of kibbutz. Take us down that memory lane. Tell us about the experience.
Sure. So I lived in a kibbutz. So I grew up in a kibbutz. My parents um, grew in a kibbutz, and my grandparents built the kibbutz that I lived in. Um, I think being raised in a kibbutz really give you the basic to become an entrepreneur, because as a kid, the kibbutz saying to you, you can do whatever you want, but if you want to do that, you need to plan and execute. So we as the kibbutz will give you the budget if you want. We will guide you. We will make sure you're not doing any mistakes on the way. But if you want to do like a day trip, you need to plan the day trip. You need to decide where you're going to travel, how you're going to do it, when you're going to eat lunch, how you're going to eat lunch. All of that you need to do as a kid. And I think for me early on was a very good experience, because you understand that it's a challenge, but you can do it. You can create stuff. It's just a matter of understanding the way and understanding what you need to take in consideration. So growing up in a kibbutz for me was a great experience. Also understanding of work ethics. I'm working since I was 13. I like to work. I think it's not a curse working. You need to just find something you like. And so I think for me, growing up in a kibbutz gave me what I needed in order to be where I am today.
Okay, yes. You spoke about what you learned from that kibbutz experience. And what is one important lessons you would like everyone to remember?
That you're running a marathon, and in this marathon there is very dark places sometimes, and you need to believe that you can execute, but you need to be truth. You need to speak truth with yourself, and you need to say when hard times are a signal to stop and cut your losses, and when hard times are just there in order to make you stronger, in order to solve the problem that's in front of you. So my advice is that you need to be honest with yourself completely, because it's a marathon, and even marathon runners, they need to know when to stop sometimes, and they need to know when to push the gas. So this is my advice.
All right. So this is my last statement you have to fill. I am Shalom, your blank founder. What do you want to be known for? How do you want to be known for?
I must say I don't have that kind of inspiration. I would like that Avenews will be known for the company that solve the problem of the agriculture industry, first in Africa and then across the globe. So for me, I want Avenews to be known for the company who create the new foundation for the agriculture industry to move from where it is now to indeed the 21st century.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I appreciate your time. Shalom, thank you very much, and all the best to Avenews.
Thank you very much, Maya. I think, IAM Ops doing a great job, and thank you for this opportunity speaking with you today.
This podcast is powered by IAMOps.io. Optimize your cloud infrastructure and CI/CD process with IAMOps.io dedicated DevOps team. Check out www.imops.io and get a DevOps team now. Make sure to check out www.imops.io if you want to know more about us. Subscribe to our podcast so you can get notified every time we post a new video. Thank you, and you have a great day.